Hey everyone, welcome back to another market closing live stream. We've got some massive earnings coming up. We've got AMD earnings coming up. We've got Microsoft coming up, Pinterest coming up, Google coming up, Starbucks coming up, Visa coming up. Folks, this is going to be insane. And all of those are coming out within 10 minutes of each other. One right at the close, a few right at 5 minutes after the close, and a few right after at 4:10, along with many others. Oh my goodness. We have one heck of an earnings day today, and it kind of makes sense that we would see a little bit of hesitancy in the stock market given all of this madness coming up in the stock market, not only on earnings, but also Biden speaking tomorrow, the Fed speaking tomorrow, Biden revealing his infrastructure package tomorrow. Are there going to be stimulus checks in it, or is this whole fourth stimulus check titling just a bunch of, Fugazi magic that's not going to end up happening? I don't know. But folks, there's some uncertainty in the market right now. Let's take a peek at what's going on. Let's go ahead and start with what's losing. Wow. It looks like we get a little bit of a downturn here on Microvision's down 26% on the day here. I'm going to go to 5 minute just to try to get a look at the day here in scope. So yeah, pretty much straight down here on Microvision. So really incredible rally Friday, really incredible rally Monday. And it is certainly having a substantial U-turn now, down from those highs of 27 and back to 1950. Looks like Mind Medicine is also having a little bit of a U-turn as well. This is one. Gosh, we talked for like an hour and a bit this morning in the course member live stream on Mind Medicine, just going deep into research on psychedelics and the differences between LSD and the mushrooms and the different research that they're doing into curing these different ailments. Really, really incredible, and learn some very incredible things about the company. So if you're a course member, check that out. But one of the things, obviously, and I've been saying this part publicly as well, is one of the issues with Mind Medicine is when you get an uplisting, it's almost somewhat like a stock split. People get really excited. Everybody hears, oh my gosh, uplisting. Like, big deal. It's the same company, just listed on a different stock exchange. That's it. Nothing's changed. Company's not making more money. It's not losing more money. It's so, but yeah, Dr. Meat Mop. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were there. What's up, man? Thank you for joining. Yeah, it was like 1,000 of us sitting talking about LSD and shrooms in a big circle. It was fun. So yeah, what other reason can I give you for using that coupon code down below and checking this stuff out? I don't know. But anyway, continuing on, Hydrofarm also continuing its downtrend here. I'm going to go to the day chart on Hydrofarm because it seems like we've had multiple days here. It's sort of a downtrend. Yeah, we've really been trending down since about February. But this really plays with the whole cannabis boom, right? Cannabis boom, this kind of IPO'd or whatever it did. I don't know if it was a SPAC, but whatever it is, it hit the market here in December. Really had a boom with the cannabis boom, but it's really also been selling off with the cannabis sector. It's really incredible. So let's see here. So Joseph here, $10. I own a heavy equipment dealership. So heavy equipment dealership would be like Caterpillars and tractors, right? I can assure you parts are where the margin is. I think that's a big miss people are not taking into account on Tesla. Every year, more cars need high margin parts. That is interesting. I don't know if that's a downside for Tesla because Tesla's service is a losing business, money losing business right now at least. It is a car that needs very, very little maintenance. Electric vehicles need extremely little maintenance. It's incredible how little maintenance they need. So I could see that. I'm sure you guys could sell glow plugs for $500 or spark plugs, whatever. Probably diesel engines, so spark plugs, I guess, on Caterpillar machines for what, $500 each a pop or whatever, and probably get your 30-40% margin on them, right? But I don't know if that same thing would be true about Tesla. But that's a very interesting question because you're right. I mean, parts in autos, service in autos, that's where the big margin is, So yeah. All right, so Hydrofarm selling off. Naked Brand also selling off here on the momentum. Tried to have a little bit of a momentum push here in the last few days. A Naked Brand up 9.96 in the last few days, but again, I'm sorry, but trending up in the last few days, but down today 9.96%. BNGO, almost all of the momentum moves here, with the exception, I want to say, of GameStop. In the red right now, and the autos selling off again. Look at Tesla, look at Churchill, look at Xpeng. All these guys down 4% here. Luminar, the LiDAR plays down again. QuantumScape, batteries for EVs down again. NEO down 3%. I mean, the EV is just getting spanked again. If we jump on over to what's winning, we actually have Hyliion, though, moving nicely here. Not sure if this is just a move after the Nikola move all of a sudden, but we do have the stores rallying today. Excuse me. So retail, look at that. Macy's, Nordstrom, and these were selling off for like no reason the other day. And now they're coming back. So it's this really bizarre teeter-totter now. GameStop playing with the stores over here, up 6% on the day. Matterport 1.67. Kind of, honestly, you could feel the tension in the market. You know, this teeter-tottering in the market is really a sign of pent-up anxiety for these earnings reports to just release. Like, just give us the info already. Obviously, today we've got a massive day in terms of earnings, which we'll be covering all of those earnings when it occurs. Someone here saying Fed should start tapering asset purchases start of 2022. We should see higher interest rates after we're back at almost full employment, roughly 2022 December is a thought here. A little earlier than expected, but yeah, a thought I always have is 18 months after the taper, we might see sort of a rate increase, which might put us somewhere around that early 2023. But I think your trajectory is accurate. We'll see how it goes. All right, so nominal kind of movements in the middle here. Obviously, big downs on the EV sector, the auto sector here. Where's Enphase today? Enphase. Oh, there it is. Oh, first down day in a while here. Down 1% on Enphase. EXP's down 10%, or 1% rather. Square's down 0.71. Roblox down a tiny little bit. Very mixed market today. I really think this is just pent up anxiety. So let's do a little bit of hunting and see what's being said on the lead up here. So to earnings here. Again, we've got AMD, Microsoft, Pinterest, Google, Starbucks, Visa, Enphase, Texas Instruments, Teradyne. Isn't Teradyne in ARC? I'm pretty sure Teradyne is in the ARC. Let's go here. ARC space ETF. We bought a subscription this morning for a research service to go deep on Google Scholar articles on MindMed, and boy, that was a trip. Not literally, of course, but boy, I think we did some really good research. So fund holdings. Pretty sure Teradyne's in here. There it is. Yeah, number 15 in the ARC space ETF. 15 is Teradyne. So Teradyne is also reporting today. So we might put them on the list as well to keep an eye on. Although they're reporting later in the day. It looks like they're reporting at 2. Okay, so maybe not. They're not reporting close to the close. Mondelez International also. Ooh, this is going to be a juicy day. All right. Let's see here. Now, I personally don't like to buy options the day before, the day of earnings. Sometimes you get a little ripped off on the pricing. But yeah, let's go to the minute chart here and just see what's going on in a minute here. Yeah, kind of stable here on Mind Medicine, down about 13. Stable there on Microvision. We've really stabilized for the day. The same sort of bobbing happening all day long here at Tesla and Churchill and NEO. No surprise. Okay, so what do we got over here? Let's take a peek.
Some serious soul searching on Wall Street.
And it is. And I've been talking to people at the big banks. When I say big banks, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, across the board, Credit Suisse, obviously, for obvious reasons, they took the biggest bath on the Archaeological losses. And I said, what is the sort of soul searching? What is going on afterwards? Because, they're going to do something. They have to.
Michael Burry deleted his Twitter profile. That must mean I'm no longer blocked. Wow. The doctor's out. Investor Michael Burry may have deleted his entire Twitter account on Tuesday, a move that comes just after the famous short seller told his followers that his tweets about GameStop and other market trends had prompted a visit from the SEC. Whoa. At Michael J. Burry account that used to show Burry's musings on the danger of Bitcoin and the bubble around current retail trading now display a message saying the account does not exist. Whoa. I wonder if somebody else can name squat now. Wow. Deleted his account. Oh, poor Michael Burry. Well, y'all got really offended when I sent you the eggplant and now you deleted your account, huh? Sorry, that's mean. I know. But this is boring on Fox. So let's go over here. Okay. All right. So commercial over here. All right. What do we got? Okay, we got commercials on all the mainstream media. What is this? What is this crap? All right. Well, fine then. Fine. We'll just go back to the stakes. No, you know what we can do is we can look at the 10-year. And we can look at some crypto prices. Let's do that. I'll start with that. 10-year. Oh, no. 10-year. There we go. Now. All right. Line chart. Oh, a little trend up here. Look at that. Anticipation of inflation. Oh, sorry. It would actually help if I showed it to you. Take a look at that. I mean, we've been in notice how when we've had these low yields here, we've had a little bit more happiness in the market in just the last few days here as these lower rates have kind of settled in. But now we're getting a little bit of a push up again here, 161. And let's see how crypto is doing on that. Let's go BTC. No, that's not BTC. I don't even know what that is. Yeah, get out of here. Get out of my watch list. Here we go. Ethereum's up 26.12, 54.8 on Bitcoin, and Doge at 27. Still got to get to a buck on 27. But, yeah. All right. Let's go back to the Bloom here. Let's see what else there is. What other news is there? Talk about news. Tech weighs on stocks ahead of mega cap earnings. Yep, that's not a surprise. QuantumScape CEO fights back shorts. Yeah, old news. Biden picks Texas sheriff who faulted Trump as chief of ICE. Okay. Cuomo Diamond signals to Wall Street it's time to return to the office. Hedging rally. And Ford dominates options market. Is Ford reporting today? What is this? Trading of bearish options on Ford is revving up ahead of... tomorrow. Okay, ahead of the carmaker's quarterly results on Wednesday. Wow. 7 of the 10 most active options on the U.S. exchanges were puts that benefit from stocks drops. Some more shorting. Shorting off earnings expectations. This is it. It's the acceleration in the suits just doing their hedgy moves. Microvision still sitting at the 25% down. So hedge funds doesn't surprise me. Let's see if they're all the ones reporting today are down. Let's see. AMD. No, AMD is slightly up. MSFT is actually rallying into the close. Watch, they pre-leaked. Pins. We got 121 and Alphabet here. Goog. So you know what we should do is we should do a little expectations, expectations versus reality thing. But let's listen to this for a moment, and then I'll talk more about that. One second.
I'm totally here to break down these crucial moments of the trading day. And today we've got Fundstrat Global Advisors Head of Research, Tom Lee, with us as well. Very good afternoon to you, Tom. Let's kick things off with the broader markets, major averages. Mixed today, the S&P and Dow higher than NASDAQ.
Just kidding. Only our favorite stocks are down.
S&P or the NASDAQ is a record close, so we are set for one for the S&P, which is up by 10 basis points. But, Mike, essentially, we are flat and treading water ahead of those big tech earnings.
Yeah, and have been really on a net basis for a couple of weeks. There's really been no damage done. There's been a lot of, atmospheric conditions that say, okay, maybe it could be time for things to back off a little bit. Has not happened. There's been much more of this benign rotation. Some defensive stocks did better. Now you hear today with yields going up, you have a little more of an economic cyclical feel to what's happening below the surface. So at times you've had these periods where essentially, the market sort of just kind of plays defense for a little while and holds together. I still think that, you have to be on alert for the fact that things have been pretty good and pretty easy for a long period of time. But that in itself does not say you want to bet against a dull but firm market.
Tom Lee, you have been bullish pretty much throughout this bull market. What is your level of enthusiasm right now for stocks after we have seen such a very strong run up and we go into the heavy period of earnings?
Yeah, our conviction's quite high and our enthusiasm's high. I think stocks are about to have another rejuvenation of that face ripper rally for the month of April.
Face ripper rally. I like that reference. Okay, here's what we're going to do really quick. Okay, this is what's reporting today. And so what I think would be really cool for us to do, because then we could really compare, is let's just quickly write down some of the estimates that Wall Street has right now. So we'll do here, let's just drop in EP. Okay, edit. There we go. So we'll go ahead and put in EPS, adjusted EPS GAAP. We'll do revenue. And do we care about some of the other stuff? Probably not. Those are probably the big ones. It's going to be a little too much otherwise. I think those are going to be the good things. So that we'll put the two EPS numbers in and revenue. So expectations. Let's do this. So AMD for adjusted, we're at 0.441, 0.386, and revenue, we're at 3.212 billion. All right, let's go with Microsoft. This should be fun because that way, as the earnings hit, we'll get to update this and we'll kind of do expectation versus reality or whatever. I'll probably put do a little line under it or whatever, and then we'll see right away. So Microsoft, we've got EPS expected for adjusted to be 1.781 and 1.776. These are pretty much the same thing. 41.053 on revenue. Pins. Oh man, Pinterest. You better give us some dollar hollers. I like Pinterest so much, but I worry that maybe I like it too much. Etsy's another one. Etsy I like more than Pins, but Pins is pretty good too. So really, really low here, 8 cents, and potentially on GAAP a negative 7 cents here, with revenue expected at 472. All right, we'll see what happens. Let's do another one here. We got Goog. These are all coming up starting in the next 12 minutes. So we got to get ready. I mean, this is a big old earnings day here. So I'm going to go ahead and keep filling this in. Let me listen to this really quick here on UPS. I want to keep hearing a little bit from this guy while I do this.
It's a barometer of the economy, and I think it really is a leading sector. So when transports are doing well, and the Dow can confirm it, I mean, I would say that's kind of a risk-on scenario, and it really does affirm that investors need to be a lot more cyclical. Most of our clients are sort of becoming defensively positioned. I think they think the market's topping. That's why, again, news like UPS today is just a reminder cyclicals still have a lot of legs left.
Tesla shares lower despite posting record profit. Phil LeBeau's got the details for us. Phil.
Hey, Wilf, a mixed reaction on Wall Street to the numbers yesterday from Tesla. Yes, the company did report better than expected earnings, but that mixed reaction from analysts gives something for the bears and something for the bulls. Now, for the bulls, they'll say, hey, look, you had strong auto gross margins, better than expected. The bears say, yeah, but you had a profit that was helped by EV tax credit sales, as well as a sale of some of the Bitcoin position. Here's Elon Musk talking about what they're seeing in the market right now.
We've seen a real shift.
Why do they keep replaying this? That's kind of boring. They keep replaying the same thing. Oh, somebody says I didn't pin my. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I forgot to pin the coupon. I appreciate that. Remember, this morning we did like an hour on MindMed, going into research on it. Really, really fascinating. So if you join the course, you'll get to see that, on replay. An hour of us talking about shrooms and psychedelics. Let's go. So I'm not so excited about hearing more about Tesla. We heard enough about Tesla. But what do we got over here? Okay,
to, troll and tweak, right? He has now responded to reports of the Blue Origin complaint.
Can't get it up to orbit.
Twitter,
Oh no.
quote, can't get it up to orbit. Lol. Hilarious. Lol. Let's bring in a huge Elon Musk fan, Larry Kudlow. Larry, I think these kinds of battles are fantastic for capitalism. You have two private companies dying to beat each other out on huge contracts.
Sure, you're right. Look, Lizzie, from your reporting, and I think it was competitive bidding, was it not?
Well, there was a third company, Dynetics, that also has lodged a complaint.
All right, so the losers are sore losers because their bids were rejected for whatever reason. I guess, again, you just reported that the Amazon bid was too high. It was too expensive. So they lost. So they can complain all they want.
They're saying it was, yeah.
I mean, I doubt if NASA will change. I don't know. Maybe they will. But here's the point you're making. I agree. It's competitive bidding, right? That's life.
Yes.
Jimmy Carter once said, Liz, probably his best adage, some things in life are unfair. In this case, there has to be a loser. Or you could do it you could give trophies to everybody like they do in Little League now. Everybody gets a trophy. There are no losers.
Everyone gets a trophy. Yeah, that doesn't work in capitalism. I would say this, I started covering SpaceX back in, I want to say 2006. And about that time, Blue Origin was also coming into existence. It was very secret.
We got it. Check it out, folks. Boom. Look at that juicy table we have. You know what we could even do? We can even make this look a little bit more beautiful by just doing a little format here. Do some currency here. Go to 3 decimals. There we go. Ooh, it's so juicy. These are billions over here. So I should just, for anybody watching, if that might be confusing, we'll put B. Not for Bitcoin, but for billions. So this is what we're going to compare to. And then below, we'll do the actual results. And so we got a ton of earnings to do today. So it's going to be fun. But anyway, all right. What else do we have here? So as we prepare, let's listen to this guy again. He had some interesting insights.
Retail investors might ignore their accounts for a couple months.
Let's just quickly check on the markets. We are set for a record close on the S&P 500, up by just 8 basis points, but anything positive would be a record. The Nasdaq down 0.2, Dow's up 0.1 or so, Sarah.
Goldman Sachs compiling a list of blockchain exposed stocks, finding that these have, on average, outperformed the broader S&P 500 by about 34 percentage points so far this year. Names on Goldman's list include companies with direct exposure to Bitcoin, like a Tesla, Coinbase, Square, or PayPal. But the list also counts JP Morgan, IBM, Facebook, and NVIDIA in the blockchain exposed baskets. Tom,
that's a good idea. A blockchain exposed basket, like the forward-thinking companies, huh? That's great. Not sure if it's because of Bitcoin or if it's because of the forward-thinking nature of those companies. Kick butt. By the way, what the individual there on the right mentioned, I thought it was interesting. Might be a period of time where people just take a few months and stop looking at their portfolio. I don't blame that at all.
Market cap. But an unpopular opinion I would put forth is, I think some of these crypto equities will meaningfully outperform Bitcoin. So if someone thinks Bitcoin is going to go to 100,000 or 200,000, some of these crypto equities could rise exponential to that. So it wouldn't be linear to that change, but maybe a function, a network function, a square function of that.
Tom, do you welcome when we see these big spikes, big pullbacks, and bounces again in Bitcoin as it sort of flushes out some of the profit takers, or would you rather we get to a stage where it is a little bit more stable and the big volatility is behind it?
It's very difficult to know what is the right level of volatility. The volatility is actually quite useful in crypto and in Bitcoin because it makes lending quite profitable. Today, if you own Bitcoin, you could lend it for almost 10% a year and generate cash. And that volatility is also a function of participants using leverage, which I don't think is that healthy, but there is quite a lot of leverage used to acquire Bitcoin. But the ultimate sort of reasons it might go to 100,000 or 500,000 or a million is the number of people actually, creating wallets and using and trading Bitcoin. And that number still has a lot of room to grow. So I think, in a few years, volatility will drop. There'll be a lot less leverage used, and I think the cash flow yields will drop. But for now, it actually creates a pretty healthy ecosystem that's attracting new money.
Let's bring in Anastasia Amoroso from JP Morgan Private Bank into the conversation as we approach the close. Anastasia, looking at—
That's not who I thought was going to be there when they said Amoroso.
Anything positive to get there. We are expecting earnings from Microsoft, Google, parent Alphabet, and a number of other names after the bell. How do you think that will dictate?
So I want to say really quick, that was an interesting statement about him saying he thinks if Bitcoin goes to 100 or 200K, the companies like the Squares and the Tesla could grow exponentially next to that. That's wow.
For now in the markets is a little bit of a consolidation and sideways movement. The reality is a lot is being priced in this market. We're 41, 4,200, and we're just really getting close to a lot of the price targets out there. So I don't think it's going to surprise investors all that much if Google beats or Microsoft beats or any of those other names. I think the reality is we're approaching several potential constraining factors for the market. The first one of them is the earnings growth rates are great today, but fast forward a quarter or two and they're going to be peaking and they're going to be sequentially slowing down. And then we're going to start worrying about tax increases and tapering and so on and so forth. So I think investors are definitely starting to keep that on their radar, and they'll take the beats, but at the same time, they're also consolidating some of the gains here.
Tom, what do you make about certain commodities that just continue to power higher, from copper to lumber to corn? Can that continue?
Good question. Inflation.
Well, it's worth watching. And I would include oil in that as well. Part of it is, of course, there's some inflation signal there. But to me, the bigger story is I think there's a demand surprise that's being communicated through the commodity prices surging. I mean, whether it's lumber for housing, I think oil is hinting that there's going to be quite a big consumer recovery too. So I actually think it's a bullish sign. But if I was to put it into a strategy, I think it just means you got to be more cyclically tilted. And I think investors are too focused on growth stocks and defensives right now.
What about the Fed, Mike? We are expecting an announcement tomorrow, and nobody expects any change in tone or policy from Fed Chair Jay Powell. But eventually he's going to start to have to talk about tapering, isn't he?
Yep, eventually you would think so. I think a lot of the people who are trying to make a little bit of a game out of figuring out when that talk starts officially, looking maybe in the late summer or early fall, simply because by then you have to imagine a lot of the economic momentum will be in the data and not just in the outlooks. That's been the standard that Powell has set out there. So you would expect tomorrow it's going to be a very consistent message of we don't see anything yet that yet represents substantial progress toward those pre-COVID levels of economic.
I'm going to pull back on here just because we have 2 minutes left to the close. Do we care about Amgen? Is that one that we should look at as well? I don't know if it is, but it looks like Texas Instruments is going to be the first one to report, as well as if we do Amgen. So I don't know if anybody cares. We've got, then after that, we're going to have, I'm just going to go in order here really quick of time. Yes. Okay. I didn't put them on my sheet, but I might pull them up. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Sorry. Let's see here. Okay. Pins. So glad I asked. So Amgen's reporting too. And okay, so I think I've got this almost in order here. We've got, gosh, we just have so many earnings coming up. I'm going to keep organizing. One second.
It's because of all the calm days we've had here. So that's something to watch, the spread between the VIX and the actual volatility we're seeing, Sarah.
1 minute to go before the close. Take a look at the Dow. It is positive. The session low today was down 111. We're higher by 27 points. And you can thank McDonald's, Goldman Sachs, Honeywell, and Chevron. Those are the biggest contributors to the gain. Biggest drag is 3M, taking 32 points off the Dow after earnings earlier, despite strong mask sales. S&P 500 flat and higher, which means we are on track for a record close. It was a pretty strong, actually, final hour of trade, as you can see from the intraday chart, but a narrow range today.
I don't know about that. Microvision's down 23%. Mind Medicine's down 15%. We've got Tesla's down 4.5% on Tesla. It fell into the close.
Market today. NASDAQ looks like we'll pull back.
Churchill Capital, 4.6% down. Oh, my gosh.
Tesla, Alphabet, PayPal, Intel.
Hey, Shift's up 4.6% rather.
Ahead of earnings. Amazon is higher as well. And small caps finished with a gain of 0.1%. Look at that. The S&P just goes red in the final second. Wilfred, so did not close at a record high by 1 point.
Very annoying. The Dow just going, well, bang on flat. Exactly 0.00% return, saying it's green.
This is a bang on flat day.
We will find out if it is legitimately green or not. But either way, no record close to the S&P and the Nasdaq, as Sarah said, but very slight declines. And we are still fractionally higher so far this week after gains yesterday for the S&P 500. And energy, financials, industrials, the three sectors higher, all about 1% higher, and then all of a sudden the other 8 sectors were in the red. Welcome to the Closing Bell. I'm Wilfred Frost, along with Sarah Eisen and Mike Santoli, CNBC senior markets commentator. We have a lot to come on this hour of the show. Big.
All right, we're going to pull off this here really quick. Amgen, Texas Instruments, nothing yet. They are expected to release like any minute now here. We have got lots of earnings on deck. AMD, Microsoft, Pinterest, Google, Starbucks, Visa, Enphase, Texas Instruments, Teradyne, which is in space, not space, the ArcX, the space fund that they have. Lots. Mondelez is another one that's reporting. They're reporting actually very soon here. So let me put them on the list as well. Okay, Texas Instruments just reported. Let's write this down. All right, here we go. Ready for this? All right, let's pull up these. What we got here. Okay, so Texas Instruments is first up. Let's drop this in here. So Texas Instruments comes in at revenue of, look at that beat, 4.16. Wait, sorry, no. That's sees quarter two 4.13 to 4.4. The actual Q1 revenue came in at a little lower than the market had expected here. Although this is saying it came in at 3.28, but the estimate was 3.03. So I grabbed the adjusted estimate. So I wonder what happened here. We've got EPS. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I'm screwing it up today. There we go. Q1 revenue, 4.129. There we go. 4.29. The estimate was 3.99. So we do have a beat on Texas Instrument. And the way they're writing this is horrible. Q1 EPS at 1.87. So a beat on EPS as well. So we're looking really good on Texas Instruments. And we've got a Q2 revenue forecast of 4.13 to 4.47, higher than the estimate of 4.16. However, this is down about 3% right now. So we got 1.68 was the EPS here. Let's go grab Amgen really quick. Amgen just reported EPS of only 370 versus an estimate of 403 rather. So came in low on Amgen. Amgen coming in low. So both Texas Instruments, Texas Instruments beat on revenue here, but not by much. That's less than 10%, like an 8% beat here on rev. Amgen, so we'll put actual, and I don't know what the ticker is right now. Amgen will go, was 3.7, or actual was 4.03 versus 3.7 for EPS. So coming in low here, and EPS guidance coming in at 16 to 17 for Amgen, and the consensus estimate was 16.8. Ooh, okay, so what else here? Alphabet just reported earlier than expected. Okay, Google just came in at 45.6 for Google. That's a good beat, 45.6 at Google, very nice. Good beat here. Microsoft just came in. They're all coming in at the same time. Microsoft beats 41.71 billion on Microsoft. So a slight beat here. AMD not out yet. Pinterest not out yet. Starbucks not out yet. But we do have Microsoft and Google out. Let's look at Google here really quickly in additional detail. We've got Google. A first quarter EPS at 26.29. Oh my gosh, really? 26.29 versus estimates of 15 what we got here, the 16. So 26.29. Geez, that's huge. And the revenue was a slight beat, but the EPS came in massively. So was this just a big margin beat? We'll have to look at that. That's a really good pump there. Let's listen to this.
YouTube advertisements to that.
YouTube, folks.
5.7 billion was expected, came in at $6.01 billion. Wilf and Sarah, we will continue to look through these numbers, and we'll be getting on the phone with the CFO Ruth Porat shortly and bringing you more color after that. Back to you.
They also approved a buyback of $50 billion of Class C stock at Alphabet. Alphabet profit climbs. Yeah, profit was much higher than expected. Obviously, with the EPS beat, that makes sense because the revenue wasn't that big of a beat, but really that profit skyrocketed. Apparently, a lot of it due to, like they'd mentioned, that YouTube ad revenue, which does not shock me at all. Again, as like a YouTuber, folks. Oh my gosh, the ad revenue. I don't understand how they can pay what they do on ad revenue, but it's just a sign to me that they must be making tons of freaking money. Visa has not reported yet. We are still waiting on AMD, Pinterest, Starbucks just out. Okay, so Starbucks coming in at Starbucks comparable sales miss, revenue of 28.5 on so sorry, hold on here. Hold on, that's confusing. Okay, there we go. 6.67 was the quarterly revenue on Starbucks. So you can see that slight miss here from hold on, let's go here. So the expectation was 6.774, came in at 6.67. Comp sales were up 15% versus expectations of 17%. So slight miss here. This is a big beat right here. Margin beat is the expectation. So slight miss on this. We're still waiting on Enphase as well. But yeah, miss on Starbucks. Google is really the one crushing it right now, which is great. Okay, Enphase in. Here we go. Okay, Enphase. Revenue, Q1 revenue. Okay, we got it. We got a beat, folks. We got 301.8 on Enphase for revenue. We have EPS. They don't clarify which, but I'm guessing this one here. EPS was 22 cents, which I feel like is a little bit below expectation here. And their forecast also missed estimates here on forecast. Their projected margin for Q2 is 38 to 41% margin for Q2, but miss on forecast. Sorry, I'll show that a little bit more. Miss on forecast. We do have a beat on revenue, though. So kind of mixed news there on Enphase. Obviously holding strong there, but also I want to know why that EPS potentially came in a little low here. So gross margin was higher at 41.1%. versus an estimate of 38.9. So good job on Enphase on margin, but the guidance is not going to help so much. Okay, Visa is just in. So Visa, we're expecting 5.555. They came in at 5.7 billion on Visa with, let's see, EPS coming in at 138. 138, so beating, 138. So a beat over here, beat on rev, beat on EPS for Visa. Let's see if Pinterest is not out yet. AMD is not out yet. Microsoft, let's see, falls 2.8% after. Microsoft reports Q3 operating income 17 billion is up 31%. I mean, really, they've done extremely well. So what else do we have here? But they did miss a little bit here. So the adjusted came in at 195 at Microsoft. Let's write that down here. 195 adjusted versus the 178 expected here. So this was a beat on adjusted EPS, but rev barely beat. And trying to see what the downside was here. Microsoft books revenue, biggest revenue growth. Yeah, it's down about 4% now. And then Mondelez has also just reported. Okay, CNBC beat me to that one. Let's pull up CNBC for a moment.
During the pandemic, it looks like it's still pretty strong globally here.
Yeah, it's carrying over here a little bit, and obviously it's a part of the market that investors are not necessarily super.
So Mondelez has a beat. I'm just going to read this off here. We've got a revenue of 7.24 billion versus estimates of 7.02 billion. Operating margin at 17.7%. For Mondelez. Be interesting to see what their net margin is. Organic net revenue growth of 3%. So fiscal year organic revenue 3%. Okay, good. let's continue to listen here. Texas Instruments. Oh, there's so many earnings today. It's
We
insane.
have been looking for $1.58 on the top line, a sizable beat at $4.29 billion. The estimate had been for about $4 billion. Also boosting its outlook above.
Oh, AMD just hit. Here we go. Literally just hit. EPS of 45 cents on AMD. That's a beat on EPS. 45 cents slight. We were expecting 41. Actually, wow, that's actually a good beat. We were expecting 38 cents for EPS on AMD, and adjusted EPS, we were expecting 44. We got 45 on EPS gap, and on adjusted, we actually got 52 cents, which is really good. Revenue coming in at $3.45 billion. So this is really a beat across the board here on AMD. And Microsoft, barely had the beat and falling potentially as a result. Though I'm sure there's some additional details here as to why Microsoft is sliding down a little bit. Still don't have Pinterest data. Going back to Starbucks, yeah, that slight revenue miss, down 2.7%. Same-store sales growth misses estimates on that sort of reopening. Now they're covering Starbucks here.
That is better than the analyst consensus of 53. The revenues, though, weaker than expected at $6.67 billion. That's up 11%. But the street was looking for more. They were looking for revenues of $6.815 billion. They are, though, raising their guidance for both revenue and earnings, with the midpoints of both of those above the street's consensus. Comparable sales, these are always numbers that we look at with many restaurants and retailers. Their global comps are up 15%. That sounds good, but a bit shy of what the FactSet estimate was. U.S. comps up 9%, driven by a 21% increase in average ticket, but then offset by a 10% decline in transactions. Remember, many of us are...
It looks like there was an accounting change, by the way, at Google that led to a big push in the earnings per share. So I wonder if the market's going to adjust to that. But revenues did grow 34% at Google, which is crazy. Looks like there was a reduction in depreciation expense of, let's see here, 835 million. And okay, yeah, a little tricky here. I'll look into this a little more.
Cool. Thanks so much for that. Down 2%. Where to go? So many big movers after hours. Tom Lee, I want to bring you in and perhaps...
Oh, they reduced their depreciation expense and therefore had a higher net. So potentially the net was higher at Google because of this accounting change, but still big revenues beat. That revenue beat was good at Google.
Companies producing big revenue growth and actually even beating street expectations. But then the market reaction, which again...
So I'm going to jump over here really quick. Remember how I wrote over here at Google, was this a big margin beat? So we had rev beat and then accounting change contributing to big EPS. Well, actually, 95, actually not that much. Contributing only 95 cents. Oops, not some random address here. 95 cents to EPS. So actually, that's not that much because it seems like they still beat by a substantial amount here. Now we'll go back to CNBC for a moment.
They're pretty encouraging as well.
Microsoft down almost 4% after hours. We've got to leave it there. A lot more earnings coverage coming your way. Tom Lee, Anastasia Amoroso, thank you.
Microsoft reports strong Surface, Xbox, and cloud growth for Q3 2021. That's something potentially to pay attention to for GameStop. We've also got here's something to pay attention to if you're into Zoom. They say digital adoption curves aren't slowing down in their report. Over a year into the pandemic, digital adoption curves aren't slowing down. They're accelerating. And it's just the beginning, said the CEO of Microsoft. We are building the cloud for the next decade, expanding our addressable market and innovating across every layer of the tech stack to help customers be resilient and transform. The Microsoft Cloud, with its end-to-end solutions, continues to provide compelling value to our customers, generating $17.7 billion in commercial cloud revenue, up 33% over the year. So, I mean, those are some good things, good signals to look at for the rest of the market. Let's see, going back to what else do we have here? That's Microsoft, Mondelez, the Mondelez EPS beat to 8 cents. We got, okay, Visa. Visa just came in. Visa, actually, hold on a second. I feel like Visa's been up for a little bit longer than I expected, a few minutes here. So Visa, Okay, a lot to look at from Visa, which is really good for consumers to look at as well. Visa beats by 11 cents, beats on we did look at Visa a little bit, but here's some more details here. So beat by 11 cents, beat on revenue. Visa, okay, transactions processed 37 billion in transactions. My gosh, payment volume was up 11%. That's good. We want to see sort of that reopening, but Visa's still not providing a full year outlook. And let's see, somebody's asking if PINs missed. I don't know. I haven't actually seen PINs report yet. Oh yeah, here we go. PINs beat 485 million. That just came out. 485 million on Pinterest in revenue versus 472 expected. We've got Q1 monthly active users meets expectations, so it did not beat. Monthly active users of 478 million. Pinterest sees Q2 revenue up 105% year over year. Pinterest shares tumble 8%. Oh my gosh. Pinterest narrows Q1 losses as sales continue to climb. Darn. On the losses there. Pinterest sees Q2 revenue around 105%, right? Okay, oh, here we go. Pinterest warns of slowing U.S. growth on pandemic reopening despite beating estimates. Ouch. Monthly active users up 30%. Really, really good. But that warning is definitely going to hurt. Here we go. Pinterest warned of slower user growth in its most valuable market, a sign that post-pandemic reopenings are encouraging some consumers to look beyond social media for entertainment and connection. That's not going to be good for Etsy either. The stock fell more than 7% in extended trading. The company said average monthly user growth in the U.S. will be around flat in the second quarter compared to the same period. Oh, so no more big growth there. Lockdowns probably pulled forward some user growth during 2020, particularly in the U.S., where our service has been available for longer. Pinterest said in a statement starting around mid-March, the easing of pandemic restrictions slowed U.S. monthly user growth and lowered engagement. Lowered engagement year over year as people spent less time online. That's so bad. That's not good. As people spent less time online. That's not good. Visual search service was a major beneficiary of the COVID-19 pandemic, which forced people to stay home and seek inspiration online. That in turn pushed advertisers to spend more to reach consumers. At the end of March this year, product searches by users were up 20-fold from a year earlier. Now, with 1 billion COVID vaccine shots given, according to Bloomberg's vaccine tracker, consumers have started venturing outside more. We saw a good retention of monthly users we gained during 2020, but we still don't know how long this retention will last. Oh, it's not good. Revenue jumped 78%, 480 to 485 million. Wall Street was looking for 472. So we beat. Pinterest reported a profit excluding certain items of 11 cents a share, better than Wall Street expected. So the earnings were great, but oh my gosh, that guidance is ugly guidance on those risks. Oh, AMD, here we go. AMD just out. Q1 revenue, $345 billion on AMD. We had already written this down a few minutes ago. Okay, yeah. AMD, I just saw there were some more few updates that just came out. Sorry, they were all blending together. Okay, no, that was AMD. Okay, so I think we've pretty much gotten all of them now, except I'm sure Teradyne reported, which was the only reason we wanted to look at that was because it was in the ARC-X fund. So let's do a quick look here. So let's see. I actually don't see it. No, Teradyne comes at 5 o'clock. That's what it is. Okay, looking at some of the other headlines coming through here. I'm going to go through these again here. So Amgen saw improved demand into April. Pandemic impacted business, particularly in the first few months of Q1. That's interesting that their sales, because their revenue really fell here, and they missed on EPS and revenue. So Amgen was the big miss, and they're blaming COVID for the Amgen miss. Texas Instruments had, guidance was in line, but their Q1 results were great. Revenue grew 29%. EPS beat by 25 cents, beat on revenue. So really good at Texas Instruments. Starbucks did miss on those same store sale or the comps. So, growth in the stores quarter to quarter, year over year. We've got Pinterest. Yeah, the Pinterest monthly user actives flat. I mean, look, if you can maintain 480 million monthly active users and that stays flat, maybe the bad news comes now. But hey, maybe we get a lot more conversion as we reopen. People spend more money on I don't know, whatever. Who knows? Yeah, things that they want when they want to go out again. Who knows? Or they'll just go back to balls. I don't know. But to me, Pinterest is here to stay. But yeah, that's a little bummer on the guidance. Not unexpected, not terribly unexpected with the reopening occurring. So you can't really be too surprised on that one. AMD sees revenue up about 50%. Golly. AMD gross margin 47%, beating the estimate of 46.5%. These chip manufacturers are kicking frickin' butt. Microsoft still falling, shares slipping, sales rose 19%, so that was good. Google Q1 ads surged 32% as economic recovery builds. Wow. Profit more than doubled last quarter as Google's advertising rebounded. And I bought some big fat options on Google. How much did I spend on options in Google? Let me see here. Google was actually supposed to be my less volatile options play, which, remember, I announced all of the options that I bought when I did in the course. So if you want my buy sell alerts, always check out the links down below in those programs and check out that awesome analysis we did on what's it called on MindMed this morning. Okay, so in my Webull, I've got about 180K, some options and some on some in shares. But yeah, my I think I bought these as what did I buy? I'm trying to remember what I bought here. Oh yeah, I bought the Google $2,500 calls for January 2023. Okay, so what else do we have here? Let's see here. Visa cross-border volume down 11%. I wonder if that's because of cryptocurrencies. But transaction volume still up. Enphase. Yeah, Enphase on the forecast was a bummer. Oh man, Enphase falls 7. That's a bummer. That one's been printing tendies too on the forecast. Darn it. Oh well, you win some, you lose some. This is why you got to have diversification. Let's go ahead and take a peek at the actual after hours here. So let's look at the after hours here. So let's look at the losers first. Oh, Enphase down 8.5%. No, one of my faves. Come on, Enphase, you got to get it up. Pinterest tried green candle sticking a bit here, but still down 7%. Microsoft, I don't know any Microsoft, but Microsoft down 344. So definitely got some wins here in earnings. Got Alphabet, that's going to print tendies on the options for sure. 3.96% on the upside here. EXPI is up a bit. AMD printing nicely as well, 3.64%. So more pain than good, though. I mean, you see the winners here up 3, 4, 5%. The losers down 7, 8% right now on our watch list. That's a bummer. Oh, well. All right, what do we got over here? Another earnings alert. What you Pinterest. Oh, do I really need to hear more of this?
$1 million, earnings of 11 cents per share, beating expectations of 7 cents. But Pinterest monthly active users growing a hair slower than anticipated. The company adding 19 million to a total of 478 million. And the stock is plummeting down over 7%. And that seems to be on commentary and guidance. The company saying they're seeing a strong correlation between lockdowns and engagement on Pinterest. And they believe lockdowns probably pulled forward some user growth during 2020, particularly in the U.S. They say the easing of pandemic restrictions slowed monthly active user growth and lowered engagement, saying they saw good retention of newer users in the first quarter, but they don't know how long this retention will last. Pinterest is projecting 105% revenue growth in the second quarter. That's faster than the 95% analysts anticipated, but it's guiding for global monthly active users to grow in the mid-teens and U.S. monthly active users to be flat on a year-over-year percentage basis. Also saying that operating expense growth will accelerate. Guys, you see those shares down nearly 8%. Back over to you.
Yeah.
Julia, thank you. AMD earnings also out. Leslie Picker with those numbers. Leslie.
Hey, Sarah, that's right. AMD shares soaring in aftermarket trading, up 3.7% right now after a beat on the top and bottom lines and raising guidance for the full year and revenue guidance for the quarter, beating analyst estimates as well. In terms of the numbers for the first quarter, for EPS on the bottom line, they reported 52 cents. That compares with an estimate of 44 cents per share. On the top line, 3.45 billion. That's up 93% year over year and beats the estimate of $3.2 billion that the street was expecting. Now, in terms of Q2 revenue guidance, they say that the quarter over quarter increase is expected to be driven by growth in their data center and gaming businesses. And that guidance beating the estimate that Wall Street had as well. Gross margins, 46%, equal to that of a year ago, in line with expectations. And today's stock price performance comes after it helps pare back some of the recent performance, down 6.5.
Okay, we're going to pull off AMD for a moment here. Take a peek at this. Tim Cook just tweeted this. Let's see if we can take a peek at actually listening to this. Okay, we're gonna pause this. There we go. Here we go.
Or can offer discounts. Start to see this. It's the new app tracking transparency prompt. It's a feature that gives you a choice. A choice on how apps use and share your data. Data like your age, location, health information, spending habits, and your browsing history, to name a few. This data can help to map your runs, tag your photos, or track your location so a nearby store can offer discounts. But some apps have trackers embedded in them that are taking more data than they need, sharing it with third parties like advertisers and data brokers. They collect thousands of pieces of information about you to create a digital profile that they sell to others. These third parties use your profile to target you with ads. And they can also use it to predict and influence your behaviors and decisions.
Not good about Facebook.
This has been happening without your knowledge or permission. Your information is for sale. You have become the product. That's why iPhone users will now be asked a single, simple question. Allow apps to track you or not? Maybe you're okay giving an app your email or location so they can share your data with others to personalize ads or
shots fired
file about you. And if you're not, well, that's what the prompt is for. Whatever you choose is up to you. But at Apple, we believe that you should have a choice. App tracking transparency, a simple new feature that puts your data back in your control.
Wow. Look at Apple taking shots. Ooh. See how that goes. Okay. So let's see what else we have here. Okay. So let's go ahead and that's a good way to advertise the iPhone, honestly, if you think about it. I wonder if Apple stock is reacting to that at all. AAPL. Apple. All right, so let's see. Apple after hours, not really. If anything, it's going down. I guess the better question would be, how's Facebook doing? Let's go to FB. Facebook. Facebook ironically up. Then that was just released within the last few minutes here. But wow. All right, so how do we do on the day overall, the day itself? Well, with the exception of these sort of big losers here, Enphase down almost a full 10. Oh my gosh, so painful. Almost down a full 10% here. Pinterest down 8.7%. Yikes. Big old burns over here on some of the faves. Oh well. Google, Alphabet, good win over here at Google. That's very good. That'll do well for the options. So balance, yeah, probably on the net a little down now after those earnings. But that's okay. We're holding these puppies for the long run because they're my faves. So let's look at the day, though. Let's see what we got on the day. So Hyliion ended up 10%. Shift ended up 6%. Macy's 5.39%. Ethereum still at 26 in the 2630s range. GameStop ended up 5%. slightly down in the pre-market there. Bitcoin just broke 55,000 again. Nordstrom was up today. Matterport was up almost 2% today. Yeah, Pinterest was up 1%, but now we're back down to 70. So back down to 70. That's okay. Always wanted to buy that one under 70 anyway, but yeah, I mean now it might get stuck at 70. So we'll see how that goes. Looking at the losers of the day, not looking at the after hours here. Microvision down 23% during the day, but down 2.8. I'm sorry, up 2.88 in the after hours. With Vuzi also down 6.97, down another percent. Tesla's about to fall under 700, folks. It's about to break into the 600s again here. Let's take a peek at some of the other news going on here. But wow, that was rough. Some rough news there. Let's listen in here.
That they lied on the foundational principle of the JCPOA. They said they had no military aspirations for a nuclear weapon, and that was just a complete lie. So
okay, we're gonna pull off politics.
Bullish investors are swarming as stimulus measures, vaccine rollouts, climate pledges, they fuel a global recovery, sadly not in India, but a global recovery elsewhere from this pandemic. And this economic comeback bringing with it high costs, not just a copper, but all kinds of raw materials. These costs causing companies from Chipotle to Whirlpool to Procter & Gamble to outline price hikes. This growth is also, well, perhaps setting a high bar for earnings, certainly when you look at the valuations where we've come from. Joe, after Bell, we've got so many set of earnings. Alphabet being able to really jump over that bar, and also, of course, a share buyback.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm beginning to think a lot of these companies have seen their stocks do really well because they are making a lot of money. And of course, we see it after hours. The big winner there, Alphabet surging over 4%. Microsoft also making a lot of money, maybe is slightly disappointing. It's also had a great run, down 3%. Pinterest, that's more substantial, down 9%. And AMD chips continue to just be on fire. That's up 3.6% after hours.
Yeah, and I mean, pretty much everything that we had today actually beat this. But it's interesting to see how the market reaction diverges, I guess, based on how the magnitude of that beat, more importantly, what those forecasts look like.
Exactly right. All right, for more on this and the markets, I want to bring in Bloomberg Markets reporter Kriti Gupta. Kriti, we had the earnings after the bell. We also had some this morning, also really strong, like UPS, just like totally blew the doors off. So I guess it's like everyone just crushes earnings, but some crush them even more.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it was a 33.6% earnings beat. That's what Bloomberg Intelligence has said so far. I mean, that's insane. I don't think we've ever heard of a margin like that. And of course, this has to do with those year-over-year comparisons. So there is a little bit of that. But you're right. I mean, just look at the tech earnings we just saw. You just outlined how big of a beat these are. But I think the real key here is they are diverging a little bit. I mean, you point out how Alphabet is soaring, Microsoft is taking back, and they're both these big tech names. So what are they trading? It seems to be for these big tech names in particular. Maybe we're at the point where good news is actually bad news for some of these companies, given the rally that you've seen. And of course, one of the big questions right now, especially after those Netflix earnings last week, was this idea that we're starting to hit that point where there is going to be slowing growth. And it kind of seems like Google and Microsoft have proven that, hey, we're not there yet. We're not just a pandemic bid company. We can do even more.
I mean, Microsoft's Azure.
That's a good point. You know, a lot of potentially. It wouldn't surprise me that we see the market just sideways a little bit. And this is something we've talked about until we really start getting that growth again, pushing into September and towards the end of the year. Yeah, definitely a very, very real possibility for a lot of companies reporting earnings. And I think that's probably what we're seeing exacerbated by the shorts and the short uptake that we have seen by a lot of companies shorting many of the companies that we watch. So okay. Well, we'll see if after hours is an overreaction or if this ends up solidifying for Enphase and Pinterest here. Double burn there. What we did. Google, AMD also kicking good butt, which is very nice. We've got the interview, folks. Remember tomorrow with Mind Medicine CEO. And the CEO of Mind Medicine and Kevin O'Leary at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow. So make sure to be there. It'll be Pacific time. That's right before the market close live stream. So definitely come for that. We did an analysis this morning on Mind Medicine. Encourage you to check that out if you're a course member. If you're not yet, consider signing up. Use that coupon code. The price will go up May 5. What else do we have here? Let's see if there's any other news to cover. Let's see. Fox is talking about Israel, and CNBC is got an update.
Is offering up to $8.3 billion in loans for projects to enhance the nation's electric power grid. The Energy Department says that greenhouse gases can be reduced if the country is able to reliably move clean energy from where it's produced to where it's needed. And a very unusual scene in Mecca, one of the 2 most holy sites in Islam. Heavy rainfall is causing flooding in the city, which usually gets fewer than 4 inches of rain each year. After a 2-month COVID shutdown, Italy's Pompeii archaeological site is reopening. Only a few Italian tourists were there today and had the luxury of not having to deal with the usual crowds. People usually flock to see the well-preserved remains of a city that was destroyed by a volcanic eruption almost 2,000 years ago. And there won't be any crowds at all in Nevada's Black Rock Desert this September. That is because the Burning Man Festival has been canceled for the 2nd straight year. Organizers had considered requiring proof of a COVID vaccination, but decided that the pandemic presents too many uncertainties. A lot of people will be bummed about that for sure. Well, I'll turn back to you.
Others will be pleased their Instagram
Touche.
feeds will
Touche.
not be.
All right, we'll pull off this here. In Pompeii. Okay, somebody's donating 20 Canadian dollars here. Got to move for university. Do I buy or rent with student loans as a down payment? Student loans can be expensive as a down payment, but I'm a big fan of buying something that you can house hack and rent out to somebody else if you can pull that off. And but it depends. I don't know if that's going to be right for your situation. So, you got 60, you're using all of your student loans as down payment. My gosh. Hey, but then again, you'd be offsetting your housing costs, at least some of it. So, could be an opportunity. I don't know how the college rental market has been, though. So going back to the tickers here, this does look like we have a little bit of a pickup here in Enphase and Pinterest, an attempted pickup. I'm going to listen to the earnings calls probably after the fact. I'll listen to them on 2X for Enphase and Pinterest. Big miss here on guidance for both of them. Both of them beat rev and expectations. But both of them gave weak guidance, and that was bad. Flat and uncertainty for Pinterest, and not so great of an outlook for the next quarter on Enphase. Also, like I said, unfortunate. So otherwise, Alphabet is continuing its rally here, 24.10 in the after hours, 4.7%. Microvision back up over $21 per share, which is awesome. I'll be adding some more options lectures probably this weekend. I think they'll be ready. Some more options lectures. So if you are in the Stocks and Psychology of Money group, stay tuned for those. Social Capital was up 4.32% today, but down 0.98% here. If any of this red is making you wish you had some free stocks, make sure to go to metkevin.com/Webull, deposit $100, and you get up to $1,850 in free stocks. But I think that might cover it in terms of news right now. Let's do a quick look here at top news. Yeah, guidance is everything, folks. It's all in guidance, and that's why we're seeing those negatives here. So news is really just what we've already covered. Earnings. So nothing here. 10-year, $10 billion buyback on Google. Oh, nice. And then we've got, what do we got over here? Oh, look at those treasury yields ticking up over here. 1.62% on a bump right here on treasury yields. So we did see this bump a little earlier as well before the close. We're seeing it continue right now. So we'll see if this is a trend, but so far we've got an uptrend in just the last 3 days here on rates, which at the same time as we're seeing this uptrend, we've also seen Bitcoin trend up. It's an interesting sort of correlation that we see. So, all right. Well, that was very fun. Maybe not the best news that we wanted for some, great news for others. But possibly even will become buying opportunities as we continue to double down on our favorites for the long term. In terms of trades, I still think Nano Dimension has some push power. We'll see how Mind Medicine does tomorrow. Nano Dimension at $8. Yeah, let's see what MMEDF is like. Mind medicine was one that we were concerned would sell off today on the uplisting news. Remember, we talked about this regularly, the buy the rumor, sell the news talk, and we're down 14.29% there. We do have Biden talking tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be a busy day. Kevin O'Leary and Mind Medicine. Then we've got the Feds talking. Then we've got the Fed should be talking somewhere around 10:30. Let's double check our calendar here really quick for the Fed. Wall Street Journal, central banks. All right, let's see here. So for the calendar, oh, that's a bummer. Oh, man. Jay Powell's press conference is at the same time as the Kevin O'Leary interview. That sucks. Well, what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to review the statement. And honestly, like the Q&A, it's like an hour. Sometimes it could be a little boring anyway. The statement's going to be a big deal. But we will. So we'll cover the statement release. We'll cover their written words, and then we'll have to circle back on what they said in the press conference. But then again, it's easier to watch it on 2X, so we'll play that back and do a summary afterwards. Yeah, home prices continue to climb in February. Well, no kidding, they do. Look at that, 15-year home price growth accelerated to a new 15-year high in February as home buying demand remains strong. Crazy market, folks. Crazy market. All right, everyone. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Crazy earnings day. And we will see you in the very next one. Thanks again for being here. We'll see you soon.